Hello everyone, my name is Primacon and welcome to the 7th anniversary of Hollow Knight special. Yes, it's been 7 years since this masterful of a game came out. Could you guys believe it? It's been 7 long years. I am old. But to celebrate, I thought I would make a special video, a lore video, discussing the ending implications of Hollow Knight and the world of Hallownest after the game ended. Basically what all the different endings imply going forward, both for Hallownest and for Silksong. So I'm coming in here like Santa Claus, helping you fill in that hornet-shaped void left behind by the lack of Silksong. So if you want to help me back in return, a sub to the channel would be greatly appreciated. We are on the way to get that 2k subs, baby. Let's get it. The endings of Hollow Knight is something I've thought about a lot over the years playing this game. The game has a total of 5 different endings, and 2 of them are a pair, the other 2 are another pair, and then there's one ending in the middle that's the special problem child. And I want to discuss the implications of every single one of them and what that means for Hallownest. Let's start out with that problem child, the Dream No More ending, or as it's more popularly known as in the Hollow Knight community, the true ending of Hollow Knight. Now just to get this ending in the first place, you have to go on a wild goose chase, a big boy side quest, where you have to fight Hornet again, unlock the secret abyss area, get a special charm, convert that said charm into another special charm, have your stepsister stab your stepbrother so you can go into his mind and kill his sleep paralysis demon by bitch slapping it around a little bit. It's a wacky adventurous ride, but what that ride leads into is a really cool cutscene, and which implies really cool things for Hallownest going forward. Let's talk about that cutscene first. It is so cool. The theme that plays in the background and Hornet slowly waking up after the dust from the battle has settled down. She looks around, sees that the infection has seeped away, it ceases to exist, and then she looks down on the ground at the cracked skull of her half-sibling, who has sacrificed it all for the greater good. This little thing who's supposed to have no will of its own, no mind to think, no emotions or voice to cry out suffering, has made the ultimate sacrifice for the kingdom. And that's where the game ends. Honestly, in my opinion, this ending leaves you perfectly satisfied the most. And it may not be my favorite ending of the game, but I feel like it's the most optimistic ending of the game. The reason being, every single other ending leaves you with some doubt. The doubt being, is everything really okay still? But with Dream No More ending, there's no such doubts. The infection is gone, Hornet survives, the Knight makes the sacrifice, the Hollow Knight is gone. Everything in Hallownest should now be entering the recovering age after the great war between the Pale King and the Radiants. Now the first character that comes to mind from this is Un. Un is the great fat ass slug responsible for all the vegetation and life in Green Path and Queen's Gardens. If you guys don't know, Fog Canyon and Queen's Garden used to all be part of Green Path, all under Un before Pale King arrived to Hallownest. Now that the Pale King is gone and all the infection has been swept away, this implies that Un might come out of hiding, because in the game it's implied that Un is scared away by the infection, she's too weak, she's trying to call out to her Moskin but she's unable to reach them. With the infection gone, this may imply that Un will finally return to the Temple of Un and fix the mess that is Green Path. Because of the vegetation, Green Path is overgrown like fucking crazy. There's stupid mantises who have taken refuge in their home, and the said mantises, now being infectious free, would probably return back to their original self. This might cause a little civil war between the leftover mantis tribe and the Moskin remaining in Queen's Garden and Green Path. But with Un being a higher being and the Knight previously being responsible along with Cloth to stab the leader of the mantis tribe, I doubt there's much the mantises could do, and eventually I feel like they'll be driven away back to Fungal Wastes. Un will fix her kingdom, maybe all the 3 regions will be reunited into one single area, and that would probably be the new life hub of whatever remains in Hallownest. It's also very interesting because the White Lady, which is a pale being who's supposed to be even above higher beings, is taking refuge into Queen's Gardens into a little cocoon. But she has gone blind over the years, and a little bit crazy. The thing is, I don't think the infection going away will mean anything for the White Lady, because she wasn't infected to begin with. It's really unclear how long the stasis of Hallownest has been lasting, but it is implied that it's been going on for a while, and I feel like the White Lady is just going the regular kind of lunatic. Not the infection kind of lunatic. But from what we have gathered from the personalities of these characters, the White Lady doesn't seem like the type to rebel against Un and the citizens of Green Path. I mean, then again, what do I know? This creature did marry the Pale King, who was a war-raging lunatic. But for my little fantasy world here, I would like to believe that they would get along, and White Lady along with Un will help rebuild the kingdom. With the Radiance and Pale King dead and Grim either being banished from Hollow Nest or the Nightmare ritual being completed and the Nightmare Heart just going away, the only two main powers that remain in the kingdom are White Lady and Un. After the kingdom is rebuilt, that is a very good segue for Hornet to leave, because her whole purpose in Hollow Nest was to be the protector. She was protecting the king's brand, she was trying to fix the problems in Hollow Nest, she was trying her best. But now that the war times are over, and the kingdom will naturally evolve into an era of peace, there's not much left for Hornet there. That's a pretty good reason for someone like Hornet to venture out, to see what else is out there, and that may lead very, very smoothly into Silksong. That's probably the smoothest transition from Hollow Knight ending to Hollow Knight Silksong, assuming that Hollow Knight Silksong is a sequel in terms of lore to Hollow Knight, which by the way is another can of worms that I don't want to get too deep into. But for my analysis, I am assuming that Silksong is a sequel. Reason being, Hornet will get so fucking overpowered by the end of Silksong with all the tools and crass abilities and whatnot. I just don't see why she wouldn't use any of them in the original game when she was going all out against the knight in the second fight. It just doesn't make sense for Hollow Knight Silksong to be a prequel in my opinion. But there's a lot of people out there who strongly believe that Silksong is gonna be a prequel, so I'm not trying to go on a war against you guys. But it's kind of cool that the ending that's labeled by the Hollow Knight community as the true ending of Hollow Knight is the one that most smoothly leads into Silksong. However, I remind all of you that Team Cherry has said on record that they do not believe in true endings, and they believe every single ending of Hollow Knight to be canonical. Which is wacky because all these endings have such different wild implications. Speaking of wacky, let's talk about the other wackiest endings of Hollow Knight. Now let's delve into Embrace the Void endings, which basically say fuck you to the whole main game, and they're just like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Now while Dream No More may be the best ending for Hollow Knight in terms of making sense lore-wise, Embrace the Void ending number 1 is my absolute favorite ending of Hollow Knight. I'm talking about the ending that doesn't involve the pale white flower. So the simple breakdown is the knight finds a random corpse, as he usually does, finds a weird toy, pop out of the corpse, he uses it to stab the corpse, go into its dream and enter Godhome. From there the knight ascends, fighting all the crazy and powerful gods from Hollow Nest, like the massive Moss Charger and the Vengefly King, and of course, Gru's mother. And after going through 5 pantheons of pain and suffering, the knight decides to turn into this absolute monstrosity and kill Radiance itself. This ending is the perfect definition of a secret ending. While the other one was a true ending, I like to label this one as a secret ending because it has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on outside in the main world. Nothing at all. And while Knight ascending and turning into the Shade Beast has its own lore implications that other people have discussed way more in detail, like Mossbag, about Void and Ascending and Godhome and stuff, what I want to talk about is the implications of the Shade Lord on the actual real world. And that brings me to why the ending without the pale white flower is my preferred ending than the pale flower one, because after we bitch slap the Radiance again, this poor bastard can't catch a break from being slapped, the Shade Lord escapes the Dream Realm. We just erupt out of the Godseeker like the second fucking Big Bang to cause absolute havoc and chaos in an already torn down kingdom. All of this leads into one of the best cutscenes in Hollow Knight though. It's Hornet just standing there in the Temple of the Black Egg, looking up at the walls, probably waiting for the knight to be here. She's probably been there fucking standing around for 5 hours now, while the knight does some random shit for another random NPC out in the kingdom. Meanwhile, Hornet is just there like, come on bro, we gotta kill the Hollow Knight, and the knight's just out there chasing after some random charm. But all of a sudden, Hornet hears some footsteps, and lo and behold, it's the Unchained Hollow Knight coming at Hornet now that the infection has left his body and that the Radiance is gone. That is so fucking cool. I remember when I saw that, I was like jumping in my chair. I was so giddy, and then the game ends. It is a fucking cliffhanger, and it makes your imagination go crazy, and this ending is the reason I even decided to make this video. Can you imagine after that happens, the epic battle between Hornet and Hollow Knight? Well, I believe that they will not fight to the death. There's two assumptions you have to make for that to make sense. Assumption number one, the Hollow Knight was not hollow and is capable of thoughts. I doubt most people here would debate that. Assumption number two, the Knight was actually hollow, like a true Hollow Knight. The reason that's important is Hornet never really felt too much sympathy for the Knight, and she makes that clear throughout the game. She tells it to you every single chance she gets, that she doesn't really feel too much sympathy for what the Knight's about to do, because maybe Hornet also knows that the Knight is hollow. It lacks emotions, it lacks will, it's a vessel. But the Hollow Knight isn't, and I believe why the Hollow Knight attacks Hornet in the first place is because he's just going a bit crazy. I mean, the dude's been chained up out here in the temple for God knows how long, with a creepy voice in his head telling him to kill, and after all the years of torture, understandably, he's a bit out of it. So I believe what happens is they both have an epic battle. They probably destroy a bunch of stuff around them. Maybe they destroy the Temple of the Black Egg, the battle escapes out into Forgotten Crossroads, they're duking it out all over Hallownest, they're going crazy. Hornet is trying to subdue the Hollow Knight, but he's just way too strong. Why? Because there's no infection in him anymore, which means he is back to his full pure vessel strength. Maybe not as much as he was back in his prime, but I imagine the Hollow Knight would be at least close to his prime after the infection has left his body, which understandably would be proving a lot for Hornet to handle. Now as this battle is raging on, maybe they get interrupted by the Shade Lord. The Shade Lord comes fucking crashing down on them like the stock market, interrupts their battle, and that's when they join forces, Hollow Knight and Hornet. Maybe that's what snaps Hollow Knight out of it a little bit. Maybe Hornet tries to make a sacrifice play to save her brother's life, and again, the reason she's even doing all of that is maybe she can sense that this guy is actually alive. He is not a hollow vessel. He's someone who's been tortured, the infection is gone, and maybe Hornet feels some sense of duty to bring him back and protect him. Maybe she carries a lot of guilt over not being able to protect the kingdom, and she wants to protect the only thing that's left of the Pale King and the whole Hallownest phase of the kingdom. But yeah, that would be so freaking epic. And the implications it will have for Silksong would be so cool. Maybe it's a battle Hornet recalls, you know? Now we're gonna get into some wild speculation theory here, so put on your tinfoil hats and make sure your clown makeup is all ready for this. But wouldn't it be so cool that the reason Hornet had to leave Hallownest was because she needed help? Shade Lord is out there destroying the kingdom, posing a threat to the very existence and the world they live in, and then Hornet gets captured by the freaking KKK and taken to Farloom. And that's where Silksong takes place. Now, do I believe that's the case? Absolutely freaking not. That's way too wild of a concept for it to ever make sense. But it's a cute, fun theory to lead Hollow Knight ending into Silksong, I believe. Maybe the actual Hollow Knight ends up dying fighting the Shade Lord. Maybe after gaining all the strength Hornet does in her adventure in Farloom, she has to face the Shade Lord when she goes back home. I don't know, crazy. None of this will probably happen because I don't think Silksong will be directly connected to Hollow Knight at all. The main reason being because Team Cherry has said that they want to make sure every ending is canon. Of course, they can change their mind on it, and they can pick and choose one ending and correlate it to Silksong. But if they choose not to do that, then I don't think Silksong will have such a direct continuation of Hollow Knight at all. Because I also believe that Team Cherry wants people who have never played Hollow Knight to be able to jump into Silksong and just enjoy the game for what it is and the story without having to play Hollow Knight prior to understand the story of Silksong. But yeah, after talking about this ending so much and talking about all my vile theories that come up from this, it's pretty obvious why I prefer this version of the ending rather than this really cool entity just being born. He destroys the Radiance, which is supposed to be the big bad of Hollow Knight throughout the whole game. Bro just comes in and deletes her from existence, and then he gets destroyed by a stupid fucking flower. That is so lame. That is so lame. I don't know why people like that. Like, yo, cool, powerful flower that we don't know nothing about. Wow, flower can do all this. But it is so lame. In the grand scheme of things, I hate that ending. I absolutely, it ruins everything that's cool about the Shade Lord. it just ruins it all for me, so I don't like that ending at all. If that was the canonical ending, then well, I guess Hornet and Hollow Knight duke it out till either one of them, till Hornet kills the Hollow Knight, or they talk it out and it's all happy and go lucky. And then basically what happens with my theory in the Dream No More ending ends up happening with this ending as well. Again, not as cool as the first alternative for this. Now this only leaves us two endings, which are the base endings of the game. This is the ending you get where you don't have to do nothing special. Well, one of them anyway. For the second one, you have to do the side quest and then royally fuck it up at the end. Let's talk about that first, just get that out of the way. It's the Seal Siblings ending. It's widely considered the worst ending in Hollow Knight by all the community, and I agree. It's basically the game telling you, yo buddy, you fucked up, and you know what, you're gonna feel bad about it. You go through all this trouble on this wacky journey, only to screw up at the end where Hornet clearly wants you to get good, but you don't get good and you just keep stabbing at the Hollow Knight, and Hornet ends up passing out in the Black Egg Temple. You beat the Hollow Knight, you absorb the infection, the egg closes, yada yada yada, but the problem is, Hornet gets sealed in with you, with the player. So how in the hell does that ending lead to Silksong? That is the most confusing aspect of the game. The only theory that makes sense in my mind is some people from Farloon came looking for Hornet, probably the Weaver tribe. They realized what happened to Hornet because her face is right there on the Black Egg Temple. They performed some Weaver voodoo magic to break Hornet out of the seal, nurture her to full strength, and then they ask Hornet to come along with them as like a token of repayment for them helping Hornet. They need Hornet's help to help them in the kingdom. Hornet gets captured, Silksong happens. That's the only possible theory in my mind that I can even think of how Seal Sibling ending would lead into Silksong. Again, it is not cool, it's really lame, and I hate it, and I do not want to discuss it any further. If anyone has any cool ideas about that ending, let me know in the comments below, but that's as far as my theory go. Let's talk about the alternate version of that ending though, the actual base ending you get in the game, for which you have to do nothing special, you just have to beat the game. Now one of the theories I want to talk about the base ending is something the Hollow Knight community has discussed a lot, which is what called the Knight back to Hallownest originally. Why did the Knight return if the Knight was already out? My theory is that it was Monomon. Monomon called Quirrell, Monomon called the Knight back because maybe the Monomon knew that the Knight was hollow, maybe she just thought he was another vessel who could aid, I don't know. Because it is very clear throughout the game that out of the three dreamers, Monomon really wants to break the stasis over Hallownest and have change happen. That's why she calls Quirrell back, so Quirrell can break the seal over her, but obviously that wouldn't be enough. You would need someone who can sustain themselves in the Temple of the Black Egg. Like Hornet said, that place is built to sustain their kind. And I'm sure Monomon would know that because she has deep knowledge of the Pale King's plan. It's very clear that Monomon out of all the dreamers had the most understanding of what was going on. So it's not really far-fetched to believe that it's Monomon who calls the Knight back to the kingdom. They go through their whole song and dance of killing all the dreamers, breaking the seal, the Knight going in and absorbing the infection. A lot of people say that this does nothing and basically the infection just carries on. But I disagree. I've always believed that the Knight is actually hollow, like no thoughts, empty head, your average Silksong fan. That's the Knight. And while achievements shouldn't be taken at face value for lore, the achievement for this ending is called the Hollow Knight, implying that our Knight is actually hollow. But if we were to believe that, because if we weren't to believe that, there's nothing to speculate. That just means that the kingdom stays exactly the same, nothing changes. But if we were to believe that the Knight was hollow, that's pretty interesting because that basically means the same outcome as the Dream No More ending, but the Radiance is still alive. The reason that could be dangerous is because even though the Knight is hollow and the Knight has captured the Radiance within the Dream Realm, there is still another way to access the Dream Realm. That's right, Godseeker. This idiot showed up into Hallownest and gave anyone who can access the Dream Realm a safe passage into the Dream World to face Radiance. Someone with malicious intent might want to unleash the Radiance through the Godseeker rather than the Hollow Knight and corrupt the kingdom once again, because mind you, Hollow Knight only stores the Radiance inside it, allowing the infection to not leak out in the Dream World. It does not kill the Radiance. These two endings, the Seal Sibling ending and the actual Hollow Knight ending, the Radiance is still alive. Now, who would want to cause such problems for Hallownest? A lot of people, honestly. I'm pretty sure Pale King had a lot of enemies. I'm pretty sure there's other higher beings. I mean, we already meet one kind of higher beings, the Grim Troop, who feeds off the nightmares of dead and depressing kingdoms who are already fading away. So my point is, this ending, while yes, it solves everything in the short term, just like the Dream No More ending, it leaves a ticking bomb out there in the future for someone to exploit, which I guess is really cool in its own way. Now, obviously, the implications for Silksong for this one is also pretty simple. Hornet will leave Hallownest while be a bit more disappointed because she has said to the knight in the City of Tears when they meet that she does see an alternate plan, which was the Dream No More plan, and then the knight just turns out to be a dumbass bitch and just ignores her completely. So understandably, Hornet will be a bit more ticked off and pissed off while leaving Hallownest. Maybe that's why she left Hallownest. Maybe she was like, you know what? You absolute brain-dead buffoons are not worth my time. I am out. And then she gets kidnapped. So yeah, that's something fun to think about. But that's all the endings covered. Now, before I leave, I will rank them for you in the order that I love them. So obviously, at number 1 is Embrace the Void ending with without the Pale Flower. Number 2 for me is going to be the Dream No More ending. Number 3, a bit controversial, but the base Hollow Knight ending for me is the number 3 ending. Number 4 is the Pale Flower Embrace the Void ending. I know a lot of people would disagree for me putting it that low, but hey, that's just my opinion. And then the last, not surprising, the Seal Siblings ending. But yeah, this is something I've been meaning to do for the longest time, which is to get all my thoughts out about Hollow Knight's endings, because I love every single one of them. Even the ones that I've rated the lowest and I've talked some smack about, at the end of the day, I actually do really love and enjoy all of these endings in their own right. And I can't wait for Silksong and the Silksong endings. But yeah, I'll leave you with this. Happy anniversary. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys soon with a new. Bye bye.